Hello, everyone, and welcome. We appreciate you joining us today for our interactive strategy session on generative AI. I'd like you to introduce to our speaker, Nihal Mushtaq Amin. Nihal is our head of AI and has extensive experience in Microsoft technologies. This session will support you in understanding the latest in AI trends and their impact, explore real-world application of Gen AI in business, and discover strategies for responsible uh, and ethical AI use cases. With that, I'll hand over to Neha to begin the session. Over to
Thank you
Neha.
very much, Nikki. Hi, everyone. It's great to see that we've already got quite a few people on here, and I hope you're looking forward to this session. Should we give it a few minutes before we begin, Nikki, or are we ready just to let some others join, or are we ready to go?
We've got attendees join in, and we can begin with the introduction and go ahead, if that is okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And this session should hopefully be a really good one because we've got quite a lot to go through. We're going to really be diving into some of the business aspects of generative AI and what has generative AI done, because it all started with ChatGPT back in November 2022, and the way this industry has transformed to make it what it is today and give us technology that many organizations are using to transform their business processes is what has really highlighted itself with this technology. And that's what I want to cover today. I'm going to be going through, as Nikki mentioned, a couple of the key benefits of generative AI, understanding what real world use cases look like, use cases that I've worked on specifically, and some of the impact it's had with our clients. Another aspect is really ensuring that we are following all responsible AI principles with our implementation and ensuring that we have the right guardrails in place for our technologies, for our applications, ensuring the right people have access and putting that forward. And I'm also going to discuss a little bit about where is AI going next? What's going after this? What happens? Is this Gen AI phase just hype, or are we really in the era of AI where we need to capitalize and make the most out of the technology and the era we are in? So I will be discussing more about what I think is going to be next and what should we be prepared for? How can we ensure that we stay abreast of the technology in the Gen AI industry? So that's what we're covering today. And without further ado, I'm going to go into the next slide. And before I dive into the actual content of what I'm going to be showing today, I just want to give a quick introduction of myself. Where I am the head of AI at Koya, where I'm responsible for the AI strategy, building out the AI capability. And what I do is I talk to clients on a daily basis, understand their needs, what's their pain points, what problem they're facing, and understand what technology is available out there. What can AI do? What can generative AI do to kind of support them and help them with their pain points? And prior to this, I actually worked at Microsoft, where I was leading generative AI initiatives, working with ChatGPT technologies. Funny enough, even before ChatGPT released, and this is probably something I mention in every PowerPoint presentation that I do, just because it is a bit of a weird flex being in that era before the hype was even introduced with the release of ChatGPT. So I've worked with the technology for quite a significant time before ChatGPT was released to the market, working with many different clients on use cases. And it's crazy to see how those use cases have transformed over the past couple of years from just being natural language queries to a large language model to now having conversations on enterprise data, having a multi-model approach, leveraging retrieval augmented generation, and all the different techniques that are now available out there with generative AI. So I've been working with the technology for quite some time, and I have some extensive experience with um, within the industry. Now, I think this slide is always good to show, regardless of what I'm presenting, whether that be a deep technical session or whether that be a more high level business focused session. I think it's always good to discuss what generative AI actually is, because in my over the past couple of years, I think I've presented this slide probably over 1,000 times now. And I still get people asking me, people telling me, what is generative AI? What can they do with the technology? How does it compare to machine learning? Is it the same? Is it different? And I think it's always good to highlight what actually is generative AI before we go into more the portfolio of services that are available. So I would position it as artificial intelligence being the more holistic topic of all the different subsets of artificial intelligence. So I would consider machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, all subsets over a holistic topic of artificial intelligence. And machine learning, which we've had for quite some time now, it's the capability of being able to have data, use existing data, and enable machines and create algorithms that can make predictions. So forecasting what the weather is like, or predicting what the sales are going to be like in the next quarter, leveraging machine learning and looking at data and, as well as other different features to make an assumption of what that prediction will be, and how can we make that prediction as accurate as possible to understand what is going to happen next. A subset of machine learning is deep learning, where it's more of a machine learning technique where you're combining several different machine learning models all in one and allowing it to do a specific task. So, for example, computer vision, speech to text, text to speech, that is all using deep learning models to be able to analyze, extract, and identify information within a certain data set. And finally, generative AI, which is what has really caused all the hype over the past 3 years. It's really the capability of creating something that new. It's something that's new. With machine learning and deep learning, we've seen that it's very much leveraging data that we have to be able to make predictions and identifying objects. But with generative AI, the capability is to create something new. Leverage pre-trained models that you don't have to train yourself. You don't have to spend months and days training your own models. You've got your models, pre-trained models at hand that have the capabilities of summarizing information, extracting specific points, analyzing information, searching through large documentation. Generative AI is really the capability of doing something new. And that's where we see it moving forward as we go on, to be able to manipulate existing data, structured and unstructured, that we have using the capabilities of natural language. And that brings me quite well onto my next slide, which is really discussing the Azure AI portfolio, which is really the extensiveness of what Microsoft offer as a AI suite. And Choreo being a Microsoft only partner, we are partnered up with Microsoft. We've got specific access and specializations within the technology to really be able to create an advanced AI applications and services. So with the Microsoft portfolio, at the bottom layer, we've got more of our Azure machine learning, which is where you train, test, and deploy your machine learning models, which is very much that whole machine learning aspect of things. Above that, we've got our cognitive services, which is stuff like vision capabilities, speech to text capabilities, language analysis, and the majority of our presentation today, as well as your OpenAI, which is all your generative AI models, GPT-4 Omni, ChatGPT, GPT 3.5. Um, and we also have more scenario-based services that are services that allow you to do a specific scenario, where you've got cognitive services, cognitive search, which is now called AI search, to be able to vectorize, index specific documents and be able to search through them. You've also got form recognizer that has the capability of OCRing all those PDF documents, any documents, and extracting the text content from them. Um, and those three layers that I've just highlighted are mainly, I would say, for your developers and data scientists. Above that, we've got more of our application layer, where we've got more application ready scenarios that where we can create our own kind of applications and leverage out of the box applications like Microsoft 365 Copilot, as well as Power Virtual Agents and the Copilot Studio, which allows you to build your own kind of copilots and different application agents. And more specifically about Azure OpenAI, this has been a result of the partnership between Microsoft and OpenAI, where Microsoft have invested, at the time it was 13 billion, all together. And this is to really access OpenAI's most powerful models. So you can see at the bottom over here, we've got access to GPT-3, GPT-4, GPT-4 Omni, DALI, ChatGPT, GPT-3, 3.5. The partnership between Microsoft and OpenAI has allowed Microsoft to access OpenAI's most powerful large language models as soon as they're released to the market. But the difference in the availability of these models is the fact that Microsoft kind of puts their own wraparound around the technology. They make sure there's a content safety layer above these models, so it prevents any harmful or unethical content to go through to models and for information to be generated. And Microsoft, by integrating it in their entire suite, they have provided easy access to include generative AI capabilities in all their different services and make it have an easy integration between the different services, so you can connect different features and different capabilities quite simply, quite easily, and access AI features as part of every app, every kind of service now, almost, including stuff like database services, including storage services, including AI search and computer vision services. All now have different aspects of generative AI included within them. And AI, generative AI, people only started hearing about it since when ChatGPT was really released. That's what really caused that hype to come out. That's where the CIOs, CEOs, CTOs really said, let's have those conversations about what AI can do and what AI is, compared to when we were looking at machine learning back in the day, where it never generated as much hype as what these ChatGPT models have done today. And that hype isn't just hype, I would say. And it's really, we have evidence, we have proof that we've seen that there is real business value from investing in AI. And as you can see over here, $43 billion of additional revenue was driven by generative AI in 2023, according to one of the Gen AI adoption surveys. And there, there was a lot of different information everywhere. And there was another quote I saw, and it was the fact that 89% of senior leaders have made it a top priority in 2024 to invest in generative AI. And if you actually looked at the survey that they did for 2023 for that exact same quote, it was 67%. So there is a clear increase. There's a clear reasoning behind why are we investing in generative AI? What is it doing for us? What revenue can it bring? And what is the real capabilities? What can we achieve with using the technology? Because something I do even with my customers today, and given the fact that I'm very passionate about the technology, I still tell my customers that only invest in AI if you see a reason to invest. We need to see past that hype. We need to make sure we understand why the technology is there and what we can use it for. And there is clear business returns and ROI present when we do it properly. And with Gen AI, there's a lot of different systems that are available that can incorporate different generative AI technologies. And this goes all the way from transactional systems to call centers that many of them are operating generative AI. And I've got actually a few case studies about call centers. We've also got customer feedback, doing sentiment analysis, understanding what customers have said about a particular product, and even doing stuff like marketing. I've seen recruitment companies, in fact, use generative AI to actually put themselves out there and say and use generative AI to generate job descriptions for other companies and different job titles. Um, so, and I would say some of the key pillars that by incorporating AI, we are be able to achieve these four different key pillars. And one of them would be automation. And I think that's probably one of the most important ones. How can we automate manual labor tasks that in turn would have taken us quite a long time to um, do the task ourselves manually? And how can we ensure that AI gives us accurate results and saves, instead of spending 2 to 3 days looking through 1,000 pages of documents, how can we get AI to give us the most relevant information within 2 to 3 minutes? That's what we want to achieve with automation, setting up analysis for summarization for call centers, or maybe even generating marketing content instead of having to create that from scratch. That's a massive time saver. And I would say experience is also a really important factor. What has generative AI has allowed us to do something that has either taken us extremely large amounts of time or hasn't been possible before. And what I mean by that is we can because these large language models can understand text, they can understand the semantics of language. We are now able to j- provide different experiences to our customers. We can really show them what they can leverage generative AI to do and how they can make it personalized for customers, users, employees, internally and externally. And all in all, I'm sure many of us have heard about the different co-pilots that are available. It's also about how can we be more efficient with this technology. Do we need our own private chat GPT that we can put in any information in and maybe analyze some emails or analyze some contracts to get certain information instead of having to look through it? How can generative AI allow us to be better at our jobs? I know a common concern is generative AI would take our jobs. AI is going to do what we do. They're going to do it better. But I've never thought that to be true. I think it's more of a case of AI is going to allow us to do our jobs better. But it's all about understanding and investing in the education of AI, of how can I use it to enable me to do my role better? How can I use it to save me time where I can focus on the more important things? Because as good as generative AI is, it isn't able to do everything that humans can. Well, not yet anyway. Now, where we go from here, that's a different story in itself. But at this moment, there's still decisions that we as humans should be making and need to be making. But we can always lean on generative AI and AI to do analysis for us in order to make those final decisions. And the final pillar is really satisfaction. And I would say it's a combination between satisfaction and innovation, where what we've seen common in the market is clients looking at our customers and clients looking at the different organizations and understanding that they are innovating, and people that innovate with AI are seen as leaders in the field, which anyone that's innovating, there's more of a clear observation that we must work with them. We need to go to them. They're going to provide us with extra features as we use their services. So generative AI allows you to be seen as leaders in your field. And there are many benefits as part of that. And I've highlighted some of them already in the previous slide, but we are we can be more efficient in what we do, and there's also cost optimization to be saved. When I go through my success stories, there is a clear cut example, a couple of clear cut examples of cost optimization, where we can automate various tasks in all industries like content creation, customer service, and automation, which in turn is saving us time, it's reducing labor costs, and it allows businesses to focus on things that are more important, like the decision making aspect of things. Something I've covered already. Customers love personalization, and an example of that was I've recently seen ASOS have tried out their own kind of chatbot for clients to say, I in need of this particular brand, I'm size X, Y, and Z. Can you show me what's available? And then it's kind of building a bit of a personal experience, saying, "Oh, I know you like red, the color red. You've been buying it before. This is what you can use. You should probably look at this item for the future." And it's basically giving you that control over what else should I do and what's next, giving me a personalized experience. And there's also the co-customer service. There's a couple of examples that actually do go through customer service. We can provide 24/7 support with Gen AI. We can have AI-powered chatbots to resolve issues, provide information, and in turn satisfy our customers. And finally, as I've spoken to before, innovation and product development. Generative AI can provide designs, products, and really do more with the capabilities of the technology. It's really allowing us to innovate in a way that we couldn't previously do, which I think is extremely important and what's making it stand out in the industry today. And these are just some of the benefits I've mentioned, but they're clear-cut um, ROI seen from generative AI, all the way from cost optimization, implementing new ways to generate business revenue, finding ways to drive operational efficiency and ensure that we're removing the more mundane manual tasks and allowing employees to focus on more aspects that we need their expertise for. And this goes specifically with my success stories, where a large telecom provider we've worked with, and I'm sure a lot of us have experienced this exact same problem. But if you have a problem with your Wi-Fi, or you have a problem with buying a certain service, you normally make a phone call to the teams and customer service to help you out. And normally, I mean, I've had it many times where I've had to, they've said, oh, we can help you with this, but we need to pass you on to a manager or a supervisor, or we need to pass you on to someone else that has experience in the field. And you would normally have to repeat your problem 3 to 4 times until you get to the right person that can actually help you. And from a customer experience perspective, this is not fun, because I'm sure we all have a lot of important things to do, and waiting on a phone call, being on hold, listening to that music is probably not the best thing that we want to spend our time with. So what this telecom provider did, and this is one of the largest telecom providers globally, is they had a difficulty in capturing the summary. They had difficulty in capturing what what's taking agents so long to resolve issues. Why is it that we need to keep passing on conversation after conversation, and why that's resulting in a negative customer experience? And what we were able to do was we were able to use text to speech, speech to text, to generate a call transcript from every single conversation that a customer has with an agent, and summarize that. So we extracted stuff like, what are the pain points? What is the client unhappy about? What is the sentiment of the client? How are they feeling? What should the next steps be? And if we needed to pass it on to another agent, we would pass that summary on. So in turn, the customer would not have to repeat themselves and say again exactly what they have said many a times. Instead, in this instance, the agent was like, "Oh, so I've heard you've spoken about X, Y, and Z. This is your problem. Is that correct?" Yes, and then you move forward. And this is the whole understanding of using it to provide a personalized and enhanced experience. And this saved the company $2 million every month, just by saving that time where agents aren't all with in conversations constantly, and the waiting period to get to a resolution was significantly decreased. And this actually resulted in an 82% increase in customer satisfaction. And this is all about customer experience. But my next success story is more about how can our users use the AI itself. And this can be in all different industries, whether that be in retail, the financial services, whether that be in the telecom industry. But a lot of us have difficulties in finding what the right product is, or what the right service is, or what we need for our problems. And we what we have done before in this instance was make recommendations based on request, very similar to the ASOS example I just highlighted. And again, we're providing personalized responses based on user information. We can understand what the user is looking for by understanding the language they've used, how they're feeling, what they've discussed, and provide personalized responses on products and tailor it to what they're looking for. And this also increased the conversion rate by 3%. And the average order value was also increased by 20% by including AI to be able to kind of upsell for you and say stuff, kind of highlight, this product is nice, but if you buy this product as well, this is going to allow you to do X, Y, and Z. Very similar to when we're shopping on Amazon. We get one product recommended, but we get other products that saying other users have bought this as a package, for example, and that makes you more inclined to buy more services using the capabilities of AI search, intelligent AI search for that matter. And my next use case, probably my favorite one, and this was one that I worked on um, quite a while back, very much when generative AI was still getting known to the entire market. And this was with a private healthcare firm, and they have over 450,000 patients in the UK, and they also handle the prescriptions in nationally for all people in the UK. So they're one of like the prescription providers where they analyze prescriptions and then they put it in a database. And they paid this organization I work with. I remember talking to the CIO, and he was just telling me about this causing him many different problems. And the fact that they pay a team of 50 people to manually extract information from prescriptions, and that's going through these prescriptions, identifying this is a drug name, this is a drug date, this is the frequency of the drug, this is the hospital number, etc. Stuff that is very, very manual. And I looked at this and I said, okay, how can we use generative AI to solve this problem? And what we did was we used OCR document intelligence, OCR capabilities to extract information from all documents. And we used Azure OpenAI to actually extract specific parts. So we fed all that extracted information, extracted text to the GPT models and said, extract the following information: drug name, drug date, drug frequency, the doctor number, the doctor name, etc. And this the reason we used a generative AI for this was every single prescription was in a different format. So it was actually almost just as difficult extracting it manually, by creating your own manual OCR model. It would have taken, in fact, just the same amount of time, and it wouldn't have resulted in the ROI the company was looking for. So this is why we went down the Azure AI approach. And this resulted in from over a day to handle 6,000 prescriptions to just doing it in 3 to 4 minutes. And I remember when I saw we were in UAT and we achieved an accuracy of 99.9% in UAT, which I was um, really impressed with, to say the least, because that really showcased the real drive, the real value add this technology has for businesses. And all these solutions I've mentioned right now are all in production with these particular organizations. And this resulted in $1.5 million savings. And I think probably my favorite point out of everything is the fact that the manual efforts were reduced from 50 to 5 FTE, which means 45 FTE were then retrained to become pharmacists, and those 5 full-time employees, their purpose was to just manually verify that the AI's generated content was accurate. And why this is my favorite is it just goes to show that we are so worried about generative AI taking our jobs, but this is the perfect example that you could see where AI has actually allowed us to do more complicated, difficult jobs that maybe generative AI just wouldn't be able to do, providing us with prescriptions and what drugs to take at the right time. We have now given time to the right people to become pharmacists to do that job for us. And if what's interesting about all these different technologies I've mentioned so far is the fact that the generative AI has been the main service that have been mentioned. But what's important is it's been complemented by other AI services that's really helped them achieve the value that they're looking for. And that I would just say that it's AI, OpenAI, generative AI. It's not a silver bullet. These large language models, they're not. There's no silver bullet, but they are their potential is maximized with the capabilities of other services put together to give you a full-fledged end-to-end solution. And you will never have a use case that is just OpenAI, Chat GPT models. Normally, you will be having a combination of different services that work together to solve a problem. And that brings me on to some of the most common use cases. And just looking at time, I want to spend some time with the demos as well, so I will speed up slightly. But we some of the common use cases I've seen is contact center analysis, analytics, similar to the use case I've mentioned, customer service assistants, where we're again empowering a large language model to provide us with those human-like responses for live experiences that we can access at any time. We don't have to wait. It doesn't have to be a 9 to 5 where we chat to a chatbot. We can chat to it at any time, 24/7. Information retrieval and document process automation, also really, really important. To be able to search through thousands of different documents and summarize them it makes it really easy for us to find information. And this is one of the most common use cases I've seen to basically enable us to make decisions on unstructured data. And we also have document process automation, which is really automating, uh, very similar to the prescription and extraction, automating the process of documentation. And finally, being able to do AI knowledge search on enterprise data. So this can be both internal, external, having a HR chatbot with policy documents and an employee database, or for example, external facing for chatbot for customers on payment data. And the whole aspect of that is having your own co-pilot, completing different tasks with large language models by just querying it. Nikki, how are we doing with time?
Say we are pretty on time if we want to begin with the demo.
Um, okay, I've got a few slides left, and then I'll begin with the demos if that works well. So, uh, another aspect I thought was really important to cover was the whole responsible and ethical AI things. And OpenAI models already have content moderation built into it, but it's important that we can also set up our own custom filters, make sure access controls are in place, so only the people that should be accessing the applications, the solutions, the large language models are able to access it. And there's also a case of making sure that we are specific with our prompt engineering and ensuring that we allow only certain things to go to the model. We don't allow the model to say anything harmful or abusive or anything unethical for that matter. And when we use large language models on our own enterprise data, really important to make sure our data is encrypted. And this kind of goes to show the different safety layers of that are available on for generative AI use cases, where you've got your own model, you've got the safety system that Microsoft already enables on all large language models that it has. And then there's also a case of grounding and providing the right prompts to the model, and coding the system message to make sure it doesn't talk about anything it shouldn't be talking about. And finally, the user experience is very, very important in terms of what we give our users access to. What can they actually do with the interface? These safety layers are all important aspects that we need to take into consideration when we work with large language models. And quickly, my final slide. Well, I've got another slide after this, but I think let's get back to it. But I think the demo is important to go through. I saw a quote saying Gen AI adoption is the biggest challenge. And what makes it so difficult? I would really say it's the fact that this industry is moving at a pace that is unbelievable. It's honestly sometimes hard to believe the pace it's moving at. And I sometimes think if I wasn't working in AI full time, I would struggle to keep up with it, or I'd have to spend a lot of additional time just understanding what's there, what can we do with it, what models are out there, what are the multimodal approaches. And that's purely because of the constant changing methods that are announced, the new and improved models, continuously learning with all the technologies and use cases, and also finding the right talent. These are making Gen AI adoption really, really difficult. But that's not to say that it isn't possible. We can succeed in the era of AI. What we need to do is the discovery phase is one of the most important aspects. I've sat down with enterprise Fortune 500 clients that are we spent 2 hours just sitting with some of the senior leaders, and they came up with around 50, 60 use cases. But which is great. That's really good that we're able to find so much that AI can do for us. But we need to spend time discovering what the right use case is. What is the ROI of that use case? What are we going to get by bringing this use case to our organization? And how can we build on those use cases? So we need to educate our senior leaders, our management, our employees, the different teams. We need to get them to understand what is it we are in the era of, and what is it doing to the wider market, to the wider industry. And that's also making sure that we're upskilling the teams in the relevant technologies, and making sure that they understand how they can create their own solution. And I would say it's to make sure we do AI well and AI right. It's important that we invest in partners, we invest in right skill sets, we invest in people that have done it before and leverage their expertise. One of the most common problems I see today with my clients is a lot of clients want to try and do this themselves. But when you're working with something that's so new, where there's very minimal information, it would take them a significantly longer amount of time to get to results than if they invested in a team that has done it before. And I think that's just really important in helping us succeed in the era of AI. And this brings me well to my demos, which I had one more slide that I think would have been really good to show. In fact, I think it is going to be really good to show, so I'm going to show it. And the final slide is really where are we heading next in the era of AI, which this kind of just highlights the timeline of what we've been able to follow. ChatGPT released in November 2022. Then we had GPT-4 in March 2023. Then we moved to more of a co-pilot approach, combining large language models with different data sources. How are we using enterprise data? How can we use multiple data sources with one language model? Which is why co-pilot became really, really powerful. And next was the aspect of AI has taken over the world, where AI laws are being introduced. Responsible AI is becoming a must. We need to follow a framework in place when we actually go through with AI services, solutions, and applications. And finally, January 2024 to present, we're seeing large language models from Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Hugging Face, all the Mistral, so many open source models, large language models, small language models, GPT-4 Omni. There was a new version literally just released yesterday to the public, and that's what's driving this force, the constant change and continuous learning. But where we're going to go next, I believe that's going to be semi-autonomous AI agents, where we can actually have AI do 80% of the task for us. It's not going to do everything, but we will guide it in achieving the objective. But it is still able to do the majority of things that save us time and allow it to be more operationally efficient. So now moving on to my demos quickly. I've got a few demos available, and we do have a Q&A session lined up at the end, which I think it will give everyone a great opportunity to ask any questions, anything about what I've shown, or anything that you've been working on yourselves. I'm happy to discuss it all. But so I'm going to spend another 5 to 6 minutes just doing a few demos, and hopefully that gives us around 10 minutes to 15 minutes for questions. And we also have 5 minutes at the end from another one of our principal client managers to just do a little bit of an outro for us. So this particular example is what I've done is I've set up GPT-4 Omni on a Excel data file which has a lot of product information, and I've also customized a persona where I've said you are a retail AI assistant. You have access to information about different products with their descriptions and prices. You're able to help and advise customers on products that will be suitable for them and upsell additional products. And then I've basically included some information of what the personalities should look like. So if I just say hi, it tells me, how can I assist you today? Are you looking for any details on any specific products or need help with something else? It's just showing you how it's already starting to tailor its responses. This isn't what you get with ChatGPT. This is because I've altered the system message and customized the model to react in a certain way. So I can say something like, I just bought a new home and I'm planning to get different items for an office for my work. Do you have any recommendations? And what is done is it says, here are some recommendations for setting up functional and comfortable home office: adjustable standing desk, memory foam pillow for support your neck and head, wireless Bluetooth earbuds, stainless steel water bottle, smart LED bulbs. This is just an example of where it's been able to look at the data available to it and said, okay, these products are going to be the most useful. Now, I don't have a million products on this Excel file. I've got about around 60 to 70 products. And if you look at the Excel file compared to what is given us as an output, it's probably picked the majority of things I would look for when I have a home office, with the products that it was limited to. And it also asked me stuff like, would you like to add any of these products? Again, helping you with your purchase. And I say these all sound great. And I would definitely like to add the standing desk and earbuds to my basket, as they will really help. Great choices. I'll add the adjustable standing desk converter and wireless Bluetooth earbuds. So it's made a list of it. And now you could see that my basket has actually been updated with both the adjustable standing desk and the Bluetooth earbuds compared to just being nothing empty before. And it also tells me, which I thought was really cool. Also, don't forget, if you add two more products, you'll be eligible to get a fifth one for 30% off. Would you like to consider any additional items? Um, which again, upselling, showcasing that personal experience, being more efficient in what it does. And I could just ask it, could you tell me more about the smart LED light bulbs? I'm wondering if they'll be useful for my hall or dining room. Are designed to provide customized lighting solutions, smart control. You could set up with Alexa, Google Assistant, energy efficient, easy to install. Again, it's really helping us um, customize what we're looking for. And this is an experience that's going to empower us to find what we need quite quickly. So this is basically a chat GPT on your own data, customizing the personality. But what's next from it is a bit of a co-pilot experience. And what we have done is, Koyo as a business, we are a Microsoft data and AI partner, but we also provide 24/7 managed services for data and AI solutions. And we have a ticket co-pilot where we've basically given our managed services team the ability to search through tickets, because these tickets can be 100,000 characters long, where there are different problems, different pain points that our clients are facing with their databases, with their operations, that they can highlight in a ticket format. And this current solution has access to a real-time database where we are getting real-time information. So anything that's updated to this database, this large language model has a function that accesses this database, retrieves the information based on our query, and then provides us with a result. So if I say the query, tell me about the most recent tickets, what it's doing is you can actually look at the process that is going through is searching for tickets ordered by open date descending max 5, and then it tells me the different IDs. The title is generated in a markdown format, and it's also said the owner of the actual ticket. Now you can see that the open date is 2024 08 02 07 014 06 17. This is our demo environment. So this isn't real customer information. This is just an environment that we use for demos with dummy ticket data. And it also tells me, would you like more details about any specific data? And it also gives us kind of example prompts that we can use. So I could say, show me the full details for ticket 166995, and it's able to generate a specific summarization on real-time information. So what it's done now is access the database, got the information from the ticket, retrieved that, put it as part of the prompt, and now it's summarized it to give our engineers the most useful information, what the priority of it is, what is the original incident, what was the actions taken, and what is the summary of the investigation, which is really allowing us to do our jobs better instead of us having to read through these massive ticket data documents and information. Instead, we're able to summarize it and get the most meaningful information. And we can even go a step further and ask, can you show us a sequence diagram for the actions taken in tickets 169995? And it's able to generate a sequence diagram, because this is now basically our own co-pilot, where we've given it our data, we've given it documentation, we've given it information on different aspects to be able to perform certain tasks by generating a SQL diagrams. We can understand. So the alert system went to this particular person in Koyo, and then there was a back and forth between the client and Koyo until we reached a ticket closure aspect. So this is basically what we can do with these different large language models. And my final thing I want to show is, this is kind of highlighting a bit about going into the more AI agents aspect of things. So I've just said the prompt. I have just had a complaint from a customer about our products, which is a light bulb not working as expected when they were and when they want to return it. They were disappointed with the customer service. Can you write an apology letter to the customer and put it in a Word document? Can you also create an email to send to the leadership team highlighting the poor customer service? So when I ask it, when I send that as a prompt, what it first does is it drafts a apology letter for the customer, and it drafts an apology letter. I mean, it drafts a email to the leadership team highlighting the customer service. This is just an example I thought of to showcase a little bit about the more autonomous aspect of things. So first step is drafting both the apology letter for the customer and the email to the leadership team. Now, unfortunately, while I'm sharing my screen, it becomes quite slow to generate information, so you may have to wait a few seconds before it's able to generate an output, but it will do. Okay, just to save time, I'm going to show you the example that I set up just around an hour ago, which now it's refreshed. So I don't, it's probably not going to tell us the response. But what you would have seen is, you would have seen that it gave you the example emails as you just saw with what it was generating. So it generated a template for the customer, and it also generated a template for the email to the leadership team. And what it was then able to do was actually create a document that you are then able to use to actually send out to the client, and an email file that you can send out to the leadership team as well. In fact, I've actually got the, if I click over here, downloads, this is the apology letter that was generated for the customer. So let me just bring it up. Over here, you can quickly see what the apology letter looked like. And by the way, this isn't me copying and pasting the information in a Word document. This is the AI, this is ChatGPT, this is the large language models giving me the document to download. And this is the output that I got. So I hope this message finds you well. It also tells me where I need to change my company name. I'm really sorry about the experience you had with our product, etc., etc. And this is how we can really automate these tasks and have a AI agent that can first create those emails, then create the documents, then even create the email templates that we can send out to the leadership team and do the majority of tasks for us. So effectively, those are the demos that I wanted to cover. And apologies, it was a little bit rushed, but I want to save enough time for questions, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation and the demos that you've seen today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Neha. It was really informative and demonstration was really nice. We have got a few questions already come up. I will read them for you. So
Brilliant.
Jack has asked, how do these AI solutions integrate with software that are not originally built with AI in mind?
That's a very good question. Um, and what I would say, the way AI has been, the way at least generative AI, for example, has been set up is it's been built to work and collaborate with software. So it's kind of sitting in its own playing field in the sense that when you're building full stack applications all the way from combining front end to back end and also having your middleware, the way the way generative AI has become of what it is today is the fact that there's a lot of out of the box services, there's a lot of different libraries, and there's a lot of integration tools and code available that allows you to have a seamless integration for software with different AI services. Now, to actually integrate AI with software, I would say that that does require a bit of transformation because you need to ensure that the AI can work effectively with the code that you have, with the application that you have, and it's also in the right aspects of the application. So I think it's important to first ensure that we understand where can we include the services and the capabilities of generative AI, but there's also a lot of different tools. There's things like LangChain, semantic kernel. There's stuff like maybe Llama Index and Llama LangGraph that allow you to easily integrate Gen AI services and AI service for that matter with your software, with applications. So it's kind of putting AI in addition to what you've already got, but making sure that it's applied effectively to show that it's got a real proven value add and it works well and provides a good customer experience, because that user experience is probably one of the most important things when you're integrating AI with um, different pieces of software.
Right. There was another question put up earlier when you were presenting. I think the use case was about pharmaceuticals in pharmacy.
Yep.
The question was posted by Cell asking, hasn't that taken the jobs of 45 people? I believe that's what we were talking
Yes,
about.
that is correct. It did take the jobs of 45 people. And that is something I highlighted when it came up as well. Now, the job that those 45 people, their 9 to 5 was coming into work, picking up those prescriptions and literally looking at the prescription saying, oh, this is the customer name, this is a patient name, and then entering it in a database. That's what they were doing 9 to 5. And this was a very manual labor task. What we were managed to do was the last point I mentioned on that slide was the fact that those 45 people were retrained to become pharmacists at the same company. So they were empowered to do something more meaningful, have a higher salary, do something that allows them to grow in their career as well. And I remember when I was speaking to some of the pharmacists a very long time ago, because I just wanted to gather their thoughts on their process and what they're doing now. And even the CEO was actually really pleased with the fact that their employees were actually at a much higher satisfaction because they weren't doing something manual, something that's tedious anymore. They were doing something that they enjoyed. They were able to learn a lot and they were also able to grow. So there are certain aspects that AI will automate for us, but in a way, we need to be ready for that change, and we need to apply that to our own lives and understand where can we use AI ourselves to make our job easier and have an impact. I'm not saying all of our jobs are going to be taken. I'm quite confident that most of our jobs won't be taken. There will be the manual tasks that are automated, but that's going to give us the freedom to do something more meaningful with our time. I hope that answers the question.
So that there is a compliment that has come to you that the information that the session was articulated very nicely and expertly,
Brilliant.
and they look forward to more such sessions. And that brings us
Brilliant.
to
Thank
the
you.
end of the session. I'll bring up Sean Carmody, our Principal Client Manager, to do the closing statements. Thank you, Nihal.
No worries. Thank you.
And your content and acting president.
Great. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate that I am the person standing in between you and your lunch or your next task. So as Nikki says, I will literally take a couple of minutes, but I guess after hearing all of the great insight and looking at those demos from Nihal, I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes perhaps to explain a couple of the simple, fast, efficient, cost-effective ways that Coeo can help you and kind of take the baton from hearing this in supporting you on your AI journey. So I'm just going to share just a couple of slides to help bring it to life. Hopefully you can all see that. I guess, having heard what you've heard, if you were to engage Coeo, well, what's next? Well, we've created some gateway services, as we call them, to help expedite you on your way to delivering AI solutions in the business. The first one we call our AI envisioning. And this is very much focused on helping you with that kind of education, ideation. We'll work through some workshops to help you surface specific use cases. We can test and validate those, and even extend that into deploying a pilot into your environment. So actually bringing it to life in the context of your organization, your business, with your data, and see the power of how some of these AI solutions can be brought to life to drive your business forward. And also, one of the things that Nihal talked about and is very popular, and we have a lot of conversations with customers about, is around how can we use ChatGPT, for example. So, I won't mention names of organisations, but we often have conversations where data and IT leaders are concerned that people in their organisation are throwing up sensitive or confidential data that exists in the organisation up into open ChatGPT and putting it out there for the world, which clearly isn't great from a compliance perspective. So we can help actually design and deliver your own private GPT to help with efficiencies and supporting people in the organisation to be more effective in their roles. So again, we've got a great accelerator that allows us to surface a tested use case in your environment with your data and deliver value really quickly and cost effectively. And of course, that can either be extended to or go straight into production and be extended. And I guess one of the points I want to make again, and advantages of working alongside Coeo to bring these to life, is that we are able to access certain pots of Microsoft funding to support you on your journey. I'm sure in the follow-up to this meeting, we'll ensure that we send some detail on these, and if anybody wants to understand them a little bit more, please do get in touch. We can talk about the detail and potential costs and funding involved. But they're just two ways that we can, I guess, take the baton from Nihal's discussion to help bring to life more of what we've talked about today in your organisation. I'm looking at the clock. There was a couple of things I was going to share, but look, we'll include those in the follow-up because I think we're just about to click on to the time. So on behalf of everybody at Coeo, Nikki, Nihal and the wider team, thank you for your time. We hope to speak to you again in the future. Look out in the inbox for a follow-up from us and all the information, and yeah, anything you want to know, please let us know, because we, as you can guess, we love talking about this and we love helping organisations on their data and AI journey. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.